All right, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Connection Hangout. Tonight is the Athlete Connection. All right, my name is Paul Tyra, and I am joined by my co-host in Marietta, Georgia. Welcome, David Asardo. Oh, you're all pumped up, man. You guys had a good weekend.
Yeah, I did. My family and we had the CrossFit Open workout one yesterday.
Oh, you did. So that's your first, like they would do the assessment thing?
Well, it's 5 weeks in a row. It's to see who qualifies. And actually, Josh right now is ranked right now I think 7 in the Southeast, and he's in the top 100 in his age group in the world right now.
Wow, that's awesome. That's
Yeah.
awesome. So appropriate for tonight's show. And
I know, it's kind of interesting.
Super, super. All right. Well, for everyone out there, as a reminder, the Connection Hangout, this is not a business presentation or a product training. If you'd like more information on ASEA Redox Supplement or Renew 28 Skin Gel, please get back with the person who invited you to be on this Hangout. They'd be more than happy to share all those wonderful things with you. Also, if you'd like to chime in and let us know where you're viewing from, we'd love to hear from you. There's a comments section right beneath the screen. Go ahead and type in, say hi. Again, we'd love to hear from you. All right, let me go ahead and jump right into it. Introduce tonight's very special guest. Shawn Burke has over 28 years in the physical therapy field, over 21 years in the sports medicine physical therapy field, and over 10 years as a firefighter and EMT. He is 3 years as an Army Ranger. Thank you so much for your service there, Shawn. Appreciate that. And Shawn, while he was in and also while while he was in the Army, Shawn was ranked 4th in the nation in the All-Army Wrestling Team. He is the trainer of Olympic and professional athletes, ranging from Nancy Kerrigan to the Boston Ballet Association. As far as Shawn's personal athletic achievements go, he has competed in over 170 triathlons, 19 Ironman competitions. He is the 2005 Olympic Distance Triathlon Pacific Northwest Regional Champion. In 2012, he has the titles of the Pacific Northwest Regional Age Course Record Holder, the Hayden Triathlon Age Group Course Record Holder, the Radiant Lake Triathlon Age Group Course Record Holder, and the Jingle Bell 5K Run, the 12th overall and the 1st in his age group. He's got so many more titles, I could literally be here another hour. It would take us to go through all of them, too long to list. So ladies and gentlemen, please welcome ASEA Athlete and member of the ASEA Medical Professionals Board, Shawn Burke. Welcome, Shawn.
Hey, guys.
All right, fantastic. Now, Shawn, you are a pretty interesting guy, being an ASEA Athlete and a member of the ASEA Medical Professionals Board. Can you share with everyone how that all happened?
Well, that's an interesting question. I got, as far as the athletic or ASEA Athletes, became in one of those. I was actually on the product, had a great experience, and then shared that with a corporate. And then they actually came out to our area to do some filming on one of our films on some athletes. And I actually got filmed, and then they asked me, hey, would you mind being an ASEA Athlete? And I said I would be honored. And so I was, back in 2012, I was one of the first ASEA Athletes to be asked to be on, and took that position as a volunteer position, still am, and was very honored and blessed to be an ASEA Athlete based on the compliments that I had made using the product. And then for the Medical Professional Board, I've had some great experience with some of my athletes that I've been on a product and some of my clients. And so I think it's the 21 years or 27 years of being in the medical field and understanding how the body works and how athletes produce energy and how we work with these athletes. I was asked if I would like to be on the Medical Professional Board, and I can't tell you how blessed I am for that to be asked, and it's been a great experience.
Now, real quick, you mentioned volunteer, so it's not like you're paid to endorse. Why would you do that?
Because I believe in the product so much. I've had personal experience with it, and I've seen athletes have personal experience with it too. I can't let this technology go without me, and so I want to be able to use it myself. And it's not about the money, and it's not about any glory. It's about changing people's lives and athletes' lives. And so because of that, I am very proud to wear the ASEA across my chest every time I race.
Awesome. Thank you. We are grateful for that too as well.
Awesome. Now, Sean, why don't you tell us a little bit about your training facility? You mentioned that you had some specialized equipment. So what's that like, and what type of athletes do you train?
So our facility is a little bit different. We're not a typical gym. We're actually what we call a performance center. And what we do is each individual that walks through our door, we do an evaluation on them. We do a functional movement on them. We do a cardio test on those individuals. And then our technology allows us to put a customized blueprint exercise protocol together for each individual who walks through. And then once we're able to work with those individuals, I actually work with those individuals on a one-on-one basis. So we work with very top athletes. So we have some very top swimmers and soccer players who come here. But we also have some athletes or some other people who have health challenges that we're able to work with. We have about $25 million of research in our facility, the state-of-the-art equipment. And then based on that, because we are able to measure outcome of each individual, we have just attained a grant, and we're actually working with 30 vets right now. We just finished a pilot program, which we've worked with 12 vets and had great success with them. And now we just got another grant, and we're working with 30 vets right now. And each of those vets have different issues from different times in the military. And so because of that, because of our outcome, because we're able to measure outcome of each individual and put that customized program together, we're able to work with those vets. And the 10 original vets that we worked with, 9 of them were homeless and had no job. After going through our program for 8 months, I have to report that every one of them is no longer homeless. They actually have their own home, and they all have a job. So it's changing their perspective of themselves, of being back in society, and it was very powerful, and we're very grateful and honored to have that type of facility.
That is fantastic. That is fantastic. Okay, well, let's talk more about Shawn. I mean, I think it's so. I mean, Shawn, you're so awesome because of all the wonderful things you do to help. Of course, to help other people, and the vets thing is very close to home for me. But let's shift gears over here to Shawn Burke. And what types of sports do you compete in? Can you tell us a little bit more specifics about the type of events you compete in and how ASEA has impacted your performance in those sports?
Sure. So I mainly do triathlons and road races. So I've competed in 19 Ironmans in my career. But the thing that got me excited about getting on ASEA and working with it is I was getting ready to do my 18th Ironman. I was age 51 years old. And actually at that particular time, my body was spinning out of control. I was sore all the time. I wasn't able to recover. And when you do an Ironman race, you need to be able to get 20 to 21 hours of training in per week. At that particular time, I was maybe getting 5 if I was lucky. Was going into depression because I wasn't able to train like I used to. And so I got on the product, had went by a booth that said science. And so being in the medical field, the word science in ASEA caught my eye. And I said, I got to check this out. So I started taking the product, studied Dr. Gary Samuelson's book, and did some more research of myself. So I started taking the product. I was 8 weeks out from the 18th Ironman, got on the product, and 3 weeks later is when I started to notice the difference. I started sleeping better. I started having less stiffness. I was able to go out and start training from 5 hours to 6 hours to 8 hours to 10 hours, worked my way back up to 20 hours. My whole training schedule went from 5 to 20 hours a week, and I was on fire. It just totally turned me around. And I was like, I think I'm going to be able to do my 18th Ironman. So I got to the starting line and did my 18th Ironman and took 58 minutes off my previous time.
Wow.
And I was just blown away. And normally after doing an Ironman race, I have to go to the medical tent, get IVs. I'm in there for an hour, 2 hours at a time. I walked across the finish line, grabbed a piece of pizza, and went and watched the race again for another 6 hours. It was totally amazing. I'm like, I'm on to something here. And so normally after doing a race, the race was on a Sunday. I took Monday off from work, was back to work on Tuesday. Normally I have to take a whole week off. So I was back to week on Tuesday, back to training on Tuesday evening and went on that particular season and did 9 more races, set 9 personal best records, and 8 course records for my age group, and it's been like that ever since I've been on ASEA. So
Fantastic.
it really works. Yes.
Well, it's almost hard to top those stories. However, here I'm going to ask anyway: is there one most significant performance story that either you or one of your athletes have had with ASEA?
I actually have two. I have one really powerful one, and this one is very special to my heart. This was a young athlete who I knew as he was getting ready to graduate from a local high school. He graduated with honors. He was a valedictorian. He got a full ride scholarship to med school, and he graduated in June. And November, he was at grad school. In November of that year, he was going to meet his dad to go hunting, and he got into a severe car wreck, and was totally had some severe injuries. He actually was in rehab for 3 months. It was very devastating. No one thought he was going to make it. In fact, the doctor said, "You need to take him off life support." The family refused to do that. They stuck with him, and so when they said, "Okay, after 3 months, you can take him home, but he's going to be a vegetable. He's just going to go in the bed. That's where he's going to be. You're just going to have to live with that." And so when he got home, I knew the family, and I said, "Hey, you know what? Why don't you come to a meeting?" And they said, "Tell me about what it is." And so they took this individual and actually physically got him into a wheelchair and took him to a meeting, to Dr. Carl Smith's meeting on what this was. Now, the dad was a biochemist, so he understood when we got to that meeting what we were talking about. And here's a kid who was in a wheelchair, who couldn't speak, and he kept pointing at the board. He just kept pointing like this. It was powerful. And he's pointing at the board. He says, looked at his dad, and he kept saying, "I want that, I want that, I want that." And so his dad, at the end of the meeting, says, "How do I get this?" So we got him on the product. And this is a kid who was said to go home, and he's never going to do anything. He started taking the product, and 3 weeks later, he was able to start turning himself in bed. And then he was able to start sitting up in bed. And then he was able to start dressing himself. So a long story short is that for the next, and then I actually became his therapist. I actually worked with him at our facility. I saw him take his first steps. I saw him take his first steps with a walker. I saw him take his first step with a cane. I saw him, start to stand and balance. It was powerful. And I'm telling you, the thing that he did is he got on ASEA. That was the thing that changed his life. Everything he had been through, all the medical doctors and stuff, and he is now, this has been a 4-year process. He is now walking with no devices. He's back in school, holding a full load and maintain a 4.0 grade point average.
Wow.
He's back in the gym working out. He's gained 20 pounds of muscle, and when I saw him, he was so deconditioned. He gained 20 pounds of muscle.
Wow.
Here's the most powerful thing. Here at my facility, he was working out. We have physicians that work here. The same doctor who said he's not going to be able to take him home, he's not going to be able to live, in fact, told the mother, "You might want to consider taking him off life support." Well, this individual was walking out the door as that doctor was walking in the door, and that doctor stopped. And I said, "Is that who I think it is?" And I said, "I don't know. Who do you think he is?" And he named the name. I said, "Yeah." And he goes, "No, no, that can't be him." And I said, "It is." And he stood there, and he watched that kid walk across the parking lot, and he said, "I, as a physician, will never tell a family to take the kids off support after what I just saw." He says, "I remember him. I never thought I would see that again." And I looked at him and I said, "The only thing he did is he got out of ASEA." He goes, "That is a miracle." That was very powerful. Here's a guy now. He's now running 5Ks. He's doing triathlon. This guy is living a productive life.
That's awesome. That is
Oh my
awesome.
gosh.
Wow.
So,
That's a fantastic experience there. Thanks so much.
yeah.
So with your other athletes. Let me shift over to.
It's almost like I wasn't considering to be honest. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm still like, I mean, wow.
I mean, I
Well,
can imagine.
I'm sitting here wondering, did this doctor say, how do I get this product and how can I start sharing it with patients?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I'm thinking. The guy should. We don't have to go there. We don't have to go there. That's obviously. But I'm thinking, oh my gosh, this is like it's probably one of the most amazing stories that I've ever heard. So thank you for sharing.
It was definitely. It was awesome.
So,
but like I was saying, he probably took quite a bit of product. Is that accurate? He
took 2 ounces. He took it 3 times a day. He took it 2 ounces in the morning, 2 ounces in the afternoon, and 2 ounces in the evening, and that's it. And that was the only thing he changed. And he, to this day, still takes it. And he actually has a girlfriend now, and he's in a relationship, and he's living a productive life. But here's a guy 4 years ago who they said would not live. And every time that doctor says, he goes, "How's that miracle guy doing?" And I said, "He's striving." He goes, "It changed." He says, "It changed my life as a physician forever."
It's awesome. It's awesome.
Well, thank you for sharing it with him because
really appreciate that.
I mean, wow.
So I know I can't top that story, but I have another really good one. So we have a lady, 71 years old, walked to my gym February, so a year ago, walked to my gym and said, it was 30 pounds overweight, and says, "I want to do an Ironman." And I said, "How old are you?" She said, 70 years old. And I said, "What do you want to do?" She says, "I want to do an Ironman." I said, "Okay." So got her into my gym, got her to start working out, got her on ASEA. And 8 months later, here's a lady she lost her 30 pounds. She went and competed in her first Ironman, completed that, completed her second Ironman, completed that. She went over to Boulder, Colorado, won her age group, had the fastest bike split for her age group, had the fastest runs or swim split for her age group, qualified for the Kona World Championships,
wow,
placed at the World Championships, and is now ranked #1 in the world for 70 to 74-year-old age group.
Wow.
And she is now an ASEA athlete.
Really?
Yep. She just signed a contract with them, and she's scheduled to do 3 more Ironmans next year. And her goal is to qualify for the World Championships again in the full and the half Ironman. And she is on fire. She said, "I will never, ever get off this product. It's changed my life. I got my life back." At 71 years old, can you believe that? It's amazing.
That's awesome.
Amazing.
That is fantastic. Fantastic. So what are the guidelines that you're giving your athletes on how to take ASEA properly and how much to take?
So what I tell my athletes is when we look at all the science that's gone on with ASEA and looking at what it's actually done, I tell them there's 6 things that I tell them. I said there's research to back everything up. When you have ASEA, when it changed 43 metabolites, backed up by research by Dr. David Neiman, when you see that the muscle glycogen is spared, backed up by research from Dr. David Neiman, when you see that cell communication for repairing and replacing cells, it's at a much higher rate, in which athletes are constantly tearing down their cells and breaking their cells, so they need to be replaced or repaired in order to get ready for that next event or the next training. And that's backed up by Gary Samuelson and Dr. Dave Ward. And then when you see that we're able to activate our own antioxidants within our system to increase our immune system, because athletes have a problem with immune systems going down because they're constantly tearing the body down. And that's backed up by research for Dr. Gary Samuelson and Dr. Dave Ward. And then we see that the body is burning free fatty acids instead of muscle glycogen. That's backed up by Dr. David Neiman. And now with the new study with oxidative stress in the DNA, that's one of the leading causes of, and again, I'm not saying it's a cure or anything for medical, but when you look at oxidative stress is one of the leading causes for athletes to break down and not perform. And now we have research from Dr. David Neiman backing that up. So I look at my athletes and I say, okay, what more do you want? And they say, not much more. And so then we look at what what athletes need to do is they need to take it more regularly. So I have athletes take it in the morning, afternoon, and evening. And I tell them if you're doing a workout where you're burning more calories than you normally do, and increase your dosage. It's that simple. And when I use that formula with athletes, that's where I'm seeing the results. And because of that, Dr. David or Gary Samuelson says that it stays at your high level in your body for up to 3 hours. So with athletes, we want to be able, because we're at a much higher repairing and replacing our cells, we want to keep that at a much higher rate throughout the day. So that's why I have athletes on it more throughout the day than just taking a dosage in the morning or in the evening. And that's when we see our biggest results with our athletes.
Super. Fantastic. So as we close here, do you have any training tips you'd like to share with our viewers?
Yeah. So just like the gentleman I talked about who, came back after 4 years, set a goal. Set a long-term goal of what you want to accomplish. Then take that long-term goal and set a medium goal and then short-term goal. And the reason I'm saying that is here, when I was talking about the gentleman I was talking about, he set a long-term goal that he wanted to get back to a normal life. That was his long-term goal. His short-term goal was, how do I get out of bed first? Then his next goal was, how do I start walking? And then his next goal was, how do I start functioning in a normal day? Well, I tell my athletes and everybody else, when you come in, set that long-term goal. Is it to do an Ironman? Great. Now let's be realistic. How is the realistic? Set some short-term goals that are attainable and achievable. If you set the goals that aren't attainable and achievable, then you're going to get discouraged. Start off with the smaller goals. Work to that longer goal, to that bigger goal. When you can do that and do things and do that correctly, you will be successful in whatever you do, even if it's losing weight or just getting out of bed and getting to function again. Or is it to do your first mile run or 5K run or Ironman or half Ironman? Those are realistic goals. Be realistic with yourself and what you can achieve and achieve those goals that way. And then again, write them down. Write those goals down. Write a daily goals. Have a plan of attack, what you're going to do. Just like doing the business. You want to have a daily task. The same thing with setting goals and with athletes. You have to do the same thing.
Super. Fantastic. Well, thanks so much, Shawn. Really appreciate your time and your wonderful experiences that you share with everyone. I know that everyone's going to get phenomenal benefit from all this. And thank you, David, for being my super duper great co-host each and every week. Really appreciate you.
It's an honor to be your co-pilot here, Paul.
Right on, right on. All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. We look forward to being with you again next week. Go out and have a fantastic rest of your evening, rest of the week, and I'll see you later. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, guys.